I mean, are we starting from episode 11? Because
we're live now, Melissa. Thank you. Hey, everyone. Welcome, everyone. We're live for another live watch party coming on in. Today we have a little special. We want to get some of the fan reaction from the community. So I'm joined with some of the loyal watch party viewers. Some of the members, people who have signed up and joined the membership, I wanted to ask them on, and we're going to talk the Cobra Kai finale. So let's just, yeah. Go ahead, Melissa, introduce yourself real quick.
Bonsai, most of you know me as Melissa Paz. I've been a big time fan of watch parties, of Watch Party. That's why I'm a member. Mm-hmm. And I can't wait to discuss theories and the overall part 3 ending. Yeah, and just basically what I thought, and with the spinoffs that I think are coming.
All right, Robin, you have been here under other names. I think you changed your screen name on me a couple of times.
Yeah, it was Robana before.
Robana, yeah.
But
and you used to have. And didn't you have Ahsoka as your profile picture at one point? And
I did, but I changed it to a much more generic anyway.
Okay. Anyway, introduce yourself. Go ahead.
I'm Robin Lynn. Been a channel member for how long now? About 6 months? 8 months?
Half a year or something? Yeah.
About a half a year, yeah. And I've been watching Watch Party for a while, and it's been great.
Oh, thank you. That's fine. It's been great having you. And down in the other corner, Robert. Is Robert here? Hey.
Yes, I'm back on. Yeah, everybody. My name is Robert Ide, Watch Party member 2 years now. I think Melissa slightly got me beat by about a month, but we've been here for 2 years. It's been a great ride, and I can't wait to talk about these last 5 episodes with everybody.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to it too. I should have said that too. I'm looking forward to it.
That's okay. It was assumed. You're looking forward to it. All right, guys. All together now. One word. The finale. You know, the last 5 episodes. I'm going to count down from 3. Give me one word. 3, 2, 1, go.
Spectacular.
Awesome. Yeah.
I'm gonna need a little more time to think of my one word.
More time, he says.
Badass, actually.
Time out. He's like Daniel. Time,
yes,
time.
I take Melissa's badass.
Badass. There we go.
Thank you, Melissa.
There you go. And see, there's a difference between badass as one word and badass as 2 words. Because if it's 2 words, it is a literal badass.
Yeah. Well, Agni, can I answer this? Agni Kai, don't know that. We don't know that Sam won't ever win a tournament. She just won't win one in Cobra Kai.
Agni Kai. Thank you for coming in. For those who don't know, Agni Kai has been following this channel under different names. He's changed his name a few times since almost the beginning, and probably still has the record of most comments on the channel. Yes, thank you, Agni Kai. Cobra Kai rapper from the 2000s. Hey, anyone want to do a rap? The way I always do? No. Sorry, rapper.
Background, but
I'm not a
go
rapper.
for it. Can you, Robin?
I won't say anything, but I'll just rap in the back. I'm done.
Okay. Not much rapping going on today. It's a group effort, and the group failed on that one. Okay.
At least we failed upward.
Yeah. Yes. Well, Watch Party admit he works on the show. I work on the Watch Party. What you say?
He works on the Watch Party show.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we did one word. And Robert, you've had some time to think about it. Why don't you just give us like your first reaction that first time you watched it? Part 3, the end. What did you think?
It's really simple, fulfilling. Despite the few things that, of course, I I don't like about it.
Mhm.
It was fulfilling. It made me feel like I got the story that I needed, even if it's not the one that I wanted.
The story you needed, even if it's the one you wanted. Okay, maybe we'll come back to that. Melissa, what do you think? What was that, feeling when you first finished?
You know, I thought it was very satisfying and and I thought everything was wrapped up nicely. But at the same time, though, I kind of dreaded just like getting to the end, because I was like, this is the end of Cobra Kai. And I mean, I knew we were going to be getting spinoffs and prequels, but
Mhm.
it's just like, it kind of felt like it was more like bittersweet, and, and, but I loved how I loved how they wrapped up everything, with Johnny and Daniel, Daniel embracing Cobra Kai. Like, who would have thought it? Like, really,
Yeah.
I thought that was a really nice touch, and seeing Sam and Anthony and Cobra Kai geese, and what they did with Tori's arc was amazing, and Miguel, that was incredible. I felt like it really served them. And I mean, I wasn't a fan of Robbie getting injured,
Mm.
so I'm hoping that when or if we do get spinoffs, that we get one with we get one with Robbie,
Mhm.
like that expands his story a little bit, because I felt like they teased something in that scene with between him and
Mm.
Johnny, where
Mhm.
Robbie says, "I could have beaten him, but it sucks that the world will never get to see it now." Uh and I felt like with Sam, I felt like her dropping out of the tournament was very satisfying, because not because I didn't want her to compete, but or just hand it over to Tori, but because I felt like it was a very mature, strong decision
Mhm.
for her to make. I felt like, and to help Tori, by training her,
Mhm.
like, so that she knows that, that Tori's not alone. She has people who have her back. Like, that's incredible.
Mhm.
And I thought, and like you said, Watch Party, my theory about Sam going to Okinawa was true.
Yeah, it was. We'll get to that at the end. That was a very
Yeah,
good call,
and I
guys.
feel
It
like
was
that
very
too.
satisfying, right?
Yeah, it was very
Mhm.
satisfying. I feel like that too is setting up something, like,
Mhm. Mhm.
for
Mhm.
her, like, especially
Looking
with
at the end.
the Q&A that Hayden did, that basically
Right.
saying that
Yeah.
the journey's not over with karate.
The ride never dies.
Yeah.
Robin, how about you? That first read, that first time you watched it, the first time you finished,
I
what were
thought it
you
was really,
thinking?
really good. Sorry, go ahead.
Really, really good. Okay, very, really good. There you go.
Um,
I'll be right back, but you keep
Oh,
going
okay, go
now.
ahead. That's fine.
well,
That's fine.
it was very well rounded from the beginning to the end of the series. And I think I was just telling Robert before you came back on that um, it was. Oh, I can't talk to you. The
That's okay.
It was just very satisfying. Come back to me.
I'm satisfying. Satisfying. Well, okay, there. 2 out of 3, we got satisfying. Casey, thank you. Rewatching season 6 from the start, and I'm back to the dog in the cage episode. There's a theory Serrano is actually Mr. Han, as he seemed to know about Miyagi. No, I don't think that theory is valid. Those are two different things. Plus, he specifically said like Serrano is like going to be really old, because if he knew Miyagi like in the 1940s, Sekai Tekai, that's not Mr. Han, guys. So I'm just, part of my job is to put kibosh on theories, and sorry, that's one of them. But thank you, KC. This is a fun theory. Are you ready to come back to Robin? Or we could just move
I'm
on.
back.
We'll just move on.
That's fine. Okay, so I thought let's just take it a little. One thing I wanted to know sometimes is like going into it, especially like seeing trailers. I mean, in this time, spoilers. It depends on how much you saw or didn't see. But did you have any thoughts going into it that just from the trailer or anything else, and were those met, or how did that work out?
The spoilers, unfortunately, the leaks ruined it for me, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there was one where it was announced that, oh my goodness, we see Daniel LaRusso in a black gi, and it showed the picture and everything, and I think that kind of ruined it. I'm sure it would have been more surprising if I hadn't known about that, but yeah, and the other one was like Robbie breaking his leg, and but seeing the trailer first, it was exciting. I was looking forward to it, even though I knew about the leaks.
For me, I managed to avoid the leaks, but there was some stuff that I did know, but they weren't really spoilers. So, like the Sam going to Okinawa, I knew that was going to happen before it was shown. So I knew that was going to happen. So it wasn't really a big spoiler for me. And the only thing that I will say that I think I saw like one leak, and I think it was the leak, and it was the leak that you were talking about, Robin, about where we saw Johnny, Daniel, Sam, Miguel, Tori, Robbie, all basically wearing Cobra Kai gis. Walking out onto the stage. So we knew and that was really an accident. Like, I didn't even mean to see that. It just popped up. And so I was like, okay, so Johnny's Cobra Kai was coming back, which wasn't really exactly a spoiler for me. It, more like just like a surprise, but not a spoiler, because I had a feeling, because the show is called Cobra Kai. So,
yeah, it seems like it, right?
So yeah, so that wasn't really that wasn't really a spoiler necessarily,
right?
But that was the only leak that I saw. I made sure
you guys did good. You avoided a lot of them. Robert, how about you?
Spoilers never bother me. Like, I'm still gonna watch it anyway, so I watched all the spoilers and still watched the show with the same excitement that I would normally have. The ironic thing is, the first 8 minutes, when they've been doing that has ironically been the thing I didn't like, because then I'm wanting to just fast forward through it to get to the new stuff, and I'm like, that's not how I should want to do it. I should want to watch the whole thing. So I had to force myself to sit there and watch the first 8 minutes all over again, because in my mind I'd already seen it. So that never really bothered me. I will just say that the moment that I turned it on, because I actually took off 3 days so that way I could sit down and really get to watch it. The moment that I finally turned, yeah. It's funny too, because my boss told me, you never tell your boss why you want to take time off. But luckily she was a Cobra Kai fan, so it worked out. But I sat down and I watched it, and I was like, this is heading towards an epic finale. Just the first episode alone told me there had to be something, and I do got to give Melissa credit for that whole calling the Sam going to Okinawa thing, because we had talked about it before, and Robbie was the one that had the book, so we all assumed if anybody was going to go, it was going to be Robbie. She was the only one that was adamant that it had to be Sam. So I really think Melissa's the one that's on the show, and it's not Watch Party.
Well, see,
what if Melissa is secretly giving me info?
It actually makes sense when you think about it, because Daniel is her father, and she was Mr. Miyagi's like granddaughter. So it's not it's not so far out there that she would go to Okinawa. I mean, Sam even said, I've heard my dad's stories about Okinawa. Like, she's heard it all. So why wouldn't she want to go?
So just to interrupt, isn't it like in the second season where he was saying, or no, it's the first season where he's like, I picked this up from my first trip to Okinawa, and you kind of automatically assume that he would take his family there. So I was kind of flabbergasted to find out that she had not been anywhere
Never
else
been.
besides Disneyland.
Yeah, I think in a lot of us thought that even in the first season or two, they had been to Okinawa many times. And I suspect maybe when they first wrote it, they were thinking that. But as they were going on with the show, they were just like, well, it was just creating too many like issues. So it was just like, yeah, they never been. I don't know.
And not only that, why would he go back? He didn't know Chosen was a changed man, So it's like Chosen was still there.
Yeah, they were just trying to like kind of explain it away or something.
Yeah, and also too, it made clear that in season 3 that had been the first time that he'd gone back to Okinawa since his last trip. Seems
like it, yeah. So yeah, I think maybe they were just figuring it out as they were going. So where were we? Okay. So we were going to go through maybe by the episodes. So episode, let's see, 11, it starts off, basically Kwan's funeral, Daniel panicking, Silver wants the Sekai Taikai back on and everything. Like, let's just like go over episode 11 coming back in. Whoever wants to jump in first, like kind of reactions to how this came back in. It started up for part 3.
Well, it's kind of stupid and silly for me to say this too, but any Supernatural fans out there saying, it was a hunter's funeral. So any Supernatural fan would just get that and get hilarious. But anyways.
I know that's a big show. I never saw it, but I do know that's a big show.
But yeah, the joke is they do funeral pyres for that kind of funeral pyre for people who die, and so any Supernatural fan was just probably laughing like crazy.
Yeah.
Anyways,
he looked kind of like Yoda, Master Kim, like in that white and all that white with the beard and.
Oh yeah, Master Kim. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, I thought it was pretty good. I mean, it was nice to see like Kreese taking some accountability, like saying this was all my fault. Like he's never done that in the show, so it showed that his redemption was coming full circle. When he was going to get it, that was the big surprise. That was the big surprise. And it was very sad. It just like, but it also showed though how ruthless Master Kim is compared to Sensei Kim, and it just showed the lengths he was willing to go to like
train. He was putting his students through the worst, right?
Yeah. And the fact that he was teach them a deadly move that they could kill somebody with, like even if it's one of their own students, like that was like, no, like that was like that was crossing lines. And I will admit, I thought that Master Kim was going to get a bigger role than he he actually did, because when he said that. They take one of our students, we take one of theirs. I thought that was going to put Axel in trouble, because it was Axel. Axel was the one who accidentally killed Kwan. So I thought that he was going to go after. I thought he was going to go after the Iron Dragons, after Silver.
Do you guys think Yoon could have killed Axel? He would have followed through and successfully done it.
See, we didn't get enough to show that, but I mean, I will say though, in part 1, when Kreese was like questioning the students, like, how do you defeat an opponent that has so much heart? And Yoon was the one who answered, have more heart yourself. And so I don't know if he would have necessarily been like he may have been trained to do it, but I don't know, like if he actually would have gone through with it if if he had the opportunity to. Like,
Mm.
I don't know if he would have done it. I mean, I guess you could say it's a possibility that, but it's like you have to take so many things into account, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, it just doesn't seem like within Yoon's character, like the way
Maybe
that they
not.
set him up, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Kwon would do it. Kwon would do it without
Yeah.
there's no question about that. Kwon would do it. Like, and he wouldn't even question it. But Yoon, I'm not so sure.
Yeah. What did you think, Robin, of the Cobras and Kim Sun Young getting them ready for revenge?
I thought it was kind of interesting to do that. With you saying with Yoon, yeah, he was Sensei Kim's #1 student before Kreese kind of got involved with that one. So I think he would have been he was still pretty good. But as far as like Kim Sung Young, I think it was kind of satisfying and ironic conclusion to him getting killed by his own technique.
Yeah. That he forced his granddaughter to learn, right?
Exactly.
And Robert, do you have anything about the Cobras or
Just watching Yoon's just I don't know what to call it, but his emotional reaction to using the move and knowing how much he's harming his teammates, I would agree. I don't think Yoon could have done it. I think he's just a completely different guy. I could definitely I could have seen, I don't know. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't even know if I could have seen anybody else do it, but just that simple fact that he does have that little bit of humanity. He believes in order and following the rules. And ironically, I could have seen him training with Miyagi-Do over training with Sensei Kim even, but I just can't see it. For me, the bigger part was Daniel's storyline. So when you're ready to talk about that, that's the one that
here,
that
let's
was so
transition to
interesting.
it right now. You know,
Whoa.
yeah, Daniel here in episode 11, he's a safe freak and no bonsais. What's going on?
Yeah, the no bonsai thing was the thing that got me, because I could have seen the no karate, I could have seen him taking a break, wanting out of the Sakai Takai, but for him to go that far to say, okay, no bonsais either, it's like that you could tell how deeply wounded he became from Mr. Miyagi not telling him the truth. And then now you have this kid that dies, and he's like, okay, so this happened just like in your fight. You killed someone. We have this fight again, and someone dies again. Maybe everything I've ever learned was a lie. And it's one of those moments where you feel for Daniel. You're like, yeah, man, I can understand you feeling this way, but at the same time, what did Mr. Miyagi show you about who he was? He was not a fighter. He never was. He was someone who was a defender. And so Daniel really had no reason to go there, but I guess I could understand why. I mean, your mentor is someone who's important to you. I know my instructor, when he taught me, if I were to sit there and find out that he killed someone, or it might take away everything he's ever taught me about martial arts is for self-defense. So I guess I can connect with it a little bit. It was, to me, it was a little overdone though.
A little overdone.
I thought it went way too fast. I thought they could have done a little bit more into it, but I guess it was fast paced for that storyline. But I guess they didn't have a lot of time to go through that one, so they had to zoom through it. But it was well done nonetheless.
It was an excuse to bring cousin Ness back in, right? So she's the one that kind of like is giving the diagnosis and advice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you like her entrance back into it?
It was all right. I mean, Julia Macchio is doing a really good job. She's coming she's doing a lot better than she did when her first appearance was. And she seems to be enjoying being acting alongside her dad as well. And is the one scene that was kind of hilarious is just like I never forget a Lou Russo. I thought that was kind of a cute scene.
Yeah. Actually, I think I have it open, and I think I have it open. Actually, it's paused right in that moment. I don't even know. He says like tuck it in, and I'm not even sure what he's referring to. Her shirt or something. Like I never forget.
It was her shirt or something. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Melissa, what did you think of Daniel and his issues, and then cousin Ness having to diagnose and come in and save the day?
Just hold on one second. I think it was very good. I think like it showed like Daniel was really affected by what happened in Barcelona, and that Vanessa was there to help. Like she read like right through the lines. Like she really reads Amanda perfectly. Like she really pushes Amanda to she really pushes Amanda's buttons, if you notice that. As long as like getting her to accept that this is who Daniel is, and it's not just about like what she wants. She's got to encourage Daniel to embrace all of his problems. And I also thought that her trying to push Sam into admitting that she doesn't want to go to UCLA, but she wants to go somewhere else, was also a good point too.
Yeah, she had a good moment with
So
Sam.
I was shocked about him getting rid of the bonsais.
Yeah, definitely.
And I felt like it was just so out of character for Daniel, but it makes sense though. It makes sense. All right, I'm gonna just put myself on mute.
That's fine. So Terry Silver is putting us all back together, and this is where we learn he is dying of something. He's here. He even shows up at the LaRusso manse. Would you guys listen to Terry Silver? Like, what's up with that?
Well, when it comes to Daniel, of course he would not. He has lost all trust. He didn't have any trust in Silver at all. And that's kind of, well, if somebody had done that to me and came back 40 years later, but yeah, I would not want to trust him at all.
Yeah. But
yeah,
I guess, go ahead, Robert. Yeah.
Oh, I was just going to agree with her. I was going to say Silver's the kind of person who where I like where they end up going with it is because every time we start to get a little humanity for him, we start to feel like, okay, he's dying, he's sick, he's he was trying to turn his life around. Like every time we start to do that, he shows who he really is inside, and how he's different than Kreese, who Kreese always showed the other side, but then through the series, we got to learn is actually someone who was led there by his captain and a bunch of things going wrong in his life. He's led down this path of, okay, well, I just don't want to lose. And I want my number one student not to lose. While Silver is just pure, he just cannot stop being a villain. And so
narcissistic per se?
I would even say narcissistic would be pretty close. Like he does sometimes show those tendencies. So yeah, that would be a good one.
So coming around to the end of 11, basically the major moment is Kim Da-eun actually then, as we mentioned, uses the move, takes out Grandpa Kim Sun-young, the end to the brutal warrior finally undone by his own techniques, I guess, from his own granddaughter. Were you surprised? Did you think something like that was happening? What do you think?
Nah, it was expected. Didn't
That
expect her to do
specifically,
it.
Kim. Yeah, that was like that's what I'm asking her specifically too.
Yeah, that came kind of as a shock.
Mhm.
I thought it would have been Kreese who would have done it, but I wasn't expecting that. It would be Kim Dun-un.
Yeah,
What
I
about you,
did.
Rep?
I
Go
didn't
ahead.
expect. Yeah,
Go
sorry,
ahead.
I didn't
Yeah, go ahead.
expect the physical aspect of it. But I did expect her to eventually take him out, like she said, like Robin said, either through Kreese or if she did do it herself. I just didn't expect it to be actually killing him. I thought it would be more bringing down everybody's view of him so that they turned away from him,
Mm.
kind of like the show had done in the past. So that was a nice. And I don't know why I'm saying it's nice for someone to die, but like a nice way for this story to show that like she knew her grandfather was that much of a threat that she had to take him out. There was no other option. So that actually resonated with me. I enjoyed that part of it. I guess I was expecting from the beginning that it would just be taking him out through other means.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I thought that like, oof, I always wondered if she would find him, but yeah, I agree with you, Robert. I thought it was more likely to be Kreese than Kim Da-eun, but there was, yeah, it's definitely a moment, and she took the dojo for herself, and Kreese left. So that was the end of 11. Kind of then moving on to 12, moving right along. Rattled. So this was the one directed by Billy Zabka. Opening with the tournament back on and the training. I mean, I don't know. I think the red mats. Well, yeah, they released the red mats. That wasn't a leak because they put a picture out, or like it was a poster. But like, what did you think of the All Valley board meeting with Gunther and all that? Just the opening of 12 here. We're back on.
It was kind of annoying.
Annoying.
Yeah. I didn't like it when they did it in the other episode or other season because I thought it
Oh
was
yeah,
kind of a waste
season
of time.
4. It is.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
when they were just doing it. But when he punched Daryl in the face, unfortunately, it was kind of a little satisfying because I've always, like I said,
It was a
Bonsai
kick,
strike
right?
was
It was
pretty.
a kick.
Bonsai.
Oh, it's a kick. Sorry.
Yeah. Thank you, Melissa.
Yeah.
So anyway, Robert, where are we? Robert.
Same question.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, for me, it was also kind of that scene. I don't know if I needed that scene, but it was hilarious. I mean, just watching Gunther kick him, in the face, like Daryl's the kind of person where you love him and you hate him at the same time. Like you love his it's karate time, but then you just kind of hate his little attitude. So also I forget the other guy's name, the Asian guy. What's his name?
Wait, Daryl, Ron. I'll think of it.
Yeah, anyways, I would have expected him to be the one to get kicked. Like that to me would have made a little more sense because he was built up as the guy for everyone to hate, and yet it wasn't him who got the kick. So for me, it kind of stood out of place, but it was hilarious nonetheless. And I love the part where they kind of do the cut where they're just like, we're going to minimize the drama. And then boom, 5 seconds later, you get the scene where it's all dramatic. And this is like, this has been what we've seen for 5 years. And so now he gets to see what it's like, Gunther. And I'm sure in that moment he's thinking like, I can't believe they chose the Valley. We could have chosen anywhere else, and we're choosing the Valley.
Well, it was up to Daniel, wasn't it, to choose the venue and everything?
Yeah.
I like
it was all up to Daniel.
I like the part where Gunther like knocks like what's his name Daryl right on his back.
Yeah, right.
Like,
Big kick, yeah.
Like he was basically challenging him. It's like, listen, I don't know how you do things in Barcelona, but you're in the Valley now. We have a way of doing things around here.
Yeah. He wasn't putting up with that.
Hi, Strike First Media.
Anyway, where are
First
we?
Media is in there.
Okay. Oh, you know what? Let's move on. Yeah, he hopped in. So Melissa, you're back here. So what do you think of basically the letter from Kumiko? You know, she missed it. His message, I love you, but as a friend. And
yeah,
is that where you thought it was going, or what were you expecting?
You know, I wasn't sure what to expect, to be honest with you. Like, I think for me, like part of me wanted to see him with Kimiko, but then a part of me, like after part 2, was like seemed like they were really pushing Chosen and Kim together, which came out of nowhere. Like they really didn't tease it at all. So
he was trying to kill her, or the opposite. She was trying to kill him in season 5.
It's like they challenged each other, but there was nothing in there that suggested anything romantic between them. So it's like, I don't think like in season 5 that they were intending to set them up. I think that they chose to do that when they probably couldn't get a hold of the woman who plays Kimiko. So I think like that was just an unexpected setup. So okay, well we can't put him with Kimiko, so we'll put him with Kim. I mean, I'm not against the romance. I just feel like it was just like a really unexpected turn. You know, like they didn't tease it at all. And I mean, it's fine if that's how they want to do it. I mean, if we get a Chosen and Kim spinoff, that they could make that work. I just so I felt like at the same time though, I'm a little bit suspicious. Like she writes first they just basically gave it like no like explanation really, because in part 2 like they had Chosen go to Kimiko's house, and he a guy wearing a towel answers the door and he immediately jumps to the conclusion that Kimiko is with somebody else. And then all of a sudden like this letter shows up, and this letter shows up, and she says the reason why she wasn't responding was because she was having trouble with the phone company. And so but then she writes that she just thinks of him as a friend. It's just like, okay, it's like, from what we've seen of her as a character, in especially like in the movies in part 2 and in season 3, it's like it doesn't sound like her, you know, like she would do something like that. And it just
Melissa, are you referring to the towel guy, or are you referring to the whole thing?
The towel guy in part 2. But it just didn't sound like her, you know. It's like
she said she was a free agent, right?
Yeah, but it's just like, it just did, like, I feel like she should, like, it would have been more direct. It would have probably been better if it would have been more direct. Like, that sounds like her, rather than just
Maybe
on a letter.
Yeah.
I think might be more to that story.
Strike First Media.
We're
I'm
all
glad
about that.
Yeah, I agree with Strike First.
Well, they had a mutual love for reality TV. Is that not enough to carry a relationship? What's going on, people?
Oh, and Bonsai Beyond the Kai. Yeah, I was glad to. Anyone else here have ever seen Saved by the Bell?
Yeah, back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was
I never
the
watched
woman
it.
who plays Moon's mom. That woman played Jessie.
Yeah. Right.
Hmm.
Like a pseudo cameo. Were you guys happy to meet Moon's mom, regardless of her relationship with Chosen? Were you like, yeah, I see it. I see it.
You know, here's the thing. Like I saw it, but I did see it, so it's like okay, that explains a lot.
Mhm.
I mean, because Moon did mention her mom, so I figured we were gonna see her at some point. But
You
I
gave her a
do
wink
like
for her
how
16th birthday.
I do like how when I do like the communication that she was having with Chosen. I thought that was really good. Like even though it wasn't romantic, it just like it gave Chosen some insight that he needed. And I thought that
Mhm.
Moon's mom was the perfect person to do that. And I also kind of
Yeah.
like how
Mhm.
how she put those like seeds into Amanda's mind about how things were going to change when Sam leaves for college, how things changed for her. It kind of put Amanda and Daniel on a bender.
Yeah. 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 They were drinking.
Especially Amanda.
3 bottles of wine.
Hmm.
Hey, Watch Party, can you read Derek's question for Melissa? Or like a statement for Melissa? It's appropriate.
Where is it? Oh, okay, up here. Here, I see it.
Yeah.
I heard you come up with the theory of Sam and Axel meet again in Okinawa, and CKW's live. With all due respect, I hope that doesn't happen. It's potentially damage Miguel and Sam's relationship.
I don't know if it would necessarily do that. But I mean, like there is maybe potential for it, like because Sam's not interested in Axel. And we also don't know what's going to happen with Sam and Miguel's relationship in the future. Yeah, they ended together as a couple in Cobra Kai, but like we don't know like if the spin-offs will go the same route. They may eventually find their way back to each other, just like they always do.
Mhm.
But Miguel made it clear that he's still going to Stanford. He's just only going with Sam for a few weeks to help get her settled in.
True.
So we don't know how things are gonna what's gonna happen. But not that I'm saying that I'm pushing Sam and Axel relationship. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I don't see Axel as a threat to the Sam and Miguel relationship. I don't see it because Sam's made it clear she's not interested, and even if she does wind up being interested in the spinoff, like like I said, we don't know what's going to happen with Miguel and Sam's relationship in a spinoff. We don't know where it's going to be.
It's true.
So I don't see Axel being a threat no matter what.
So they'll both be very loyal to each other.
Yeah.
Even thousands of miles apart, but loyalty remains. Aw.
Well, long distance, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a thing. Okay, where are we? We're on we're on episode 12. We talked Moon or not Moon, but Moon's mom and okay, so this was like a little bit the Binary Brothers back together with a VR fight simulator to help Robbie train. I think this was a little bit offbeat, obviously meant to be a little bit more humorous and easygoing, but did you guys like it? Did you like seeing Dimitri and the Hawk help Miguel train like this?
Not
Or
like
is
that.
Robbie?
No.
I'm sorry, Robbie was actually there helping Robbie.
Not like that. No, it made him feel like, and I hate to say this, but made it feel like some characters from The Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, it actually is a lot. Yeah.
But it just felt so out of character for them to do that. I know they're nerds and everything, but you'd never seen them doing technology like that during the entire series. And then all of a sudden at the end, there are these big, huge tech nerds, 80s tech nerds that are, and yeah, I didn't really like it, but yeah.
And as a woman, you hate tech nerds. You don't want nerds. You want big buff muscles, Axel. You want Robbie, shirtless abs. What about you, Robert? How'd you like the Binary Bros and maybe the whole storyline, including Robbie's struggles? Can I beat Axel, etc.
Yeah, I liked it. I was okay with it, but there's always continuity errors, right? In a show about fantasy, like Robbie can take on a whole group of Cobra Kai kids, but he can't land a single point on Axel. It's like there's some things you look at and you're like, okay, I know I have to suspend disbelief a little bit because it's fantasy, but sometimes the creators could make it stretch a little more than I'm comfortable with. It was a great story for Robbie because that was one thing that we needed from him. We needed to know that, hey, it's okay if I lose, because he hadn't quite got there yet. Remember in episode 5, he was so relieved that he beat Miguel. So now this was the first time where he was actually like, I'm actually okay with losing. It was all right. Everything's going to be fine for me. I'm not in as much I'm not in as much trouble as Counselor Blatt seems to think I am, but I'm going to do fine. And we needed that from him. We needed to know that Robbie believed in himself. So that way, when we did get the last scene that we got with Robbie, we could believe that he's ready to move forward with his life and build something big. So I didn't mind that at all. The Binary Brothers working on the machine, that was kind of fun to watch. I'm a gamer. I'm a nerd at heart. So for me, it kind of connected probably more than others. But yeah, I really didn't mind that scene at all.
There you go. Do you like the Binary Brothers, Melissa? How about it?
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. I thought it was a really great to see them like not arguing for once, and Dimitri not talking about MIT for once, like being so obsessed with it. So I thought that was a really nice touch, and I liked how they did the binary. They're Dimitri and Eli Binary Brothers thing.
Yeah, it was in the soundtrack essentially.
Yeah. So I kind of like that. And
very nice.
I thought that was really sweet. I thought that was a really good send-off moment to these brothers.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, definitely like offbeat, but yeah, and even Robin, like I know what you mean, like the Big Bang Theory, because I kept thinking about like similarities like in that. So definitely that was their thing, but it was like their moment to be back together, I guess. And then so we got the guys training, and then Sam and Tori. For all the predictions I got wrong, we see this in the trailer. I thought, oh, that's so their last scene. That's so, yeah, Sam won't fight, but they'll have like a little bit of a rematch at the end. Lights are out at the All Valley. And of course I was completely wrong, but what about the Sam and Tori training, Melissa? I think that's something you thought correctly, right?
Yeah.
From the
that
trailer.
Is what
yeah.
I thought. They were in their sweats and it just looked like they were training.
Yeah.
I honestly love that. What?
Yeah, you loved it? Go ahead.
Yeah, I honestly love that. I felt like that really was setting Sam like I know she didn't come to her decision until episode 13, but it's like in episode 12 when she was trying to get Tori to back on that mat, to go back into the tournament. And it just felt like it was really a really full circle moment between them. And I felt like maybe not in her mind yet, but in her heart, Sam knew that she wasn't going to compete in this tournament. Like she had already made up she had made up her decision. She hadn't made it up in her mind, but she had made it up in her heart. And she knew how much that Tori needed it more than she did. And kept trying to like push Tori. Like she knew Tori was going to make it to the finals, like to try to make it to the finals. And for all those people who keep saying, oh, like who are just going back and forth with this debate, Sam's better than Tori, Tori's better than Sam. I think this proves that. I mean, yes, it does show Sam winning the sparring match, even at the end. It really showcases Sam's skills and both Tori's skills. But they're equal. They're equal. Like there's, I mean, they need, they're the only ones that can keep up with each other. And it's without Sam, Tori wouldn't have been able to stand a chance against Zara. Because, and I felt like that was like Sam's like moment, like where she shows that she doesn't really need the tournament, but Tori does. And that, I think that was such an amazing moment for both of them. And I also kind of liked that that whole like snarkiness friendship between them. That like that whole like they were back to that, like because like in part one, it was like it was just too weird seeing them that friendly. So I kind of liked that they were back to, like, even though they weren't back to at each other's throats, they were still friends. I liked how they were back to that, like Tori was back to that snarkiness with Sam, like calling her LaRusso, and Sam like egging her on, saying, it's like, come on, this could be your last chance to try to kick me in the face, which we all know Tori could never resist that. And then Sam, and then Tori calling her like Little Miss Goody Two Shoes, and and it was really like it was really good to see them. Like it was just too weird seeing them like all friendly and all that. So it was kind of like, and it showed that their friendship is really true.
Yeah. There you go. They got there. They got there. A true friendship. Robin, did you like the Sam and Tori stuff, or?
Well, I like what I was going to say. What Derek said was their relationship was very wholesome in season 6. I wasn't really paying much attention to but they came full circle as well, because they were first at enemies and then they matured a lot to each other, and then they just became best of friends.
They did. Yeah, they did. They got there. And Robert, what are you? Were you down for another Sam and Tori fight? What do you wanted?
Actually, yeah, I actually wanted another Sam and Tori fight, but we knew that's not where the story was going. We knew that that for Sam to have to beat Tori, she would literally have to knock her down multiple times, knock her out. I mean, it was just like, could she really do that to Tori in a match? And I just could not see that. So obviously they couldn't do that. One of the things that I did think about, Jonathan Kahana, I hope I'm saying that correctly, said that he thought it was kind of weird that the show didn't at least have a Sam and Zara scene, at least like in part 2. I feel the same way. I was like, we kind of got let down, and we got this Irish girl that goes up against Sam, and they didn't even have any real build up to that. So we could have at least had one match with Sam and Zara where Sam shows she can go toe to toe with her, and we could have seen in part 3 Sam encourage her by like saying, hey, you saw how I did it, just do it the exact same way, or just add a little bit of who you are. So yeah, I was kind of, I was okay with what we got. Watch Party, before we move to 13, can we go back and talk about the Johnny scene in the church? Because
I was going to head up Johnny next, so let's go ahead and transition right now.
Okay.
Johnny from seeking out Bobby, and then ultimately him getting ready to marry Carmen, and the resolution of the baby comes in, all that.
Yeah, and I'm just curious, was I the only person that when I heard Johnny saying that he was going to propose, but he ended up getting tanked and took on 5 ninjas, it didn't connect in my head what he was saying at first.
Oh.
And I thought he was just making up some random story that he got into a fight. And then I thought about it. I'm like, oh, wait, the end of season 5. He's calling those guys the 5 ninjas. So was I the only person that didn't catch on that at first?
I didn't catch on it at first either, but then again, then it started making sense. Like when you're considering all the fights that Johnny's been in.
Yeah, I was just considering how they were handling the proposal because it had always had looked like he proposed in season 5 and they maybe shot it, but then changed their mind. And so they kind of edited around it. So then they made it more like, oh, I was going to, but then didn't. That's sort of what I was caught up on. Like, were they going with he proposed or they were pretending like he didn't? Yeah.
Yeah. And you just got to love Johnny, you know, he gets one lecture and then suddenly Johnny goes into being Johnny, which is just forget all the good things you've done lately, forget who you are, just go right back into that I'm a loser thing. And it did fit with the theme for those 5 episodes. So it is who Johnny is. He's always going to revert back to believing he's a loser. Except I think now he might have finally broke it with letting out the cathartic cry with Kreese. If they did that now, obviously in a future thing, it wouldn't make any sense. But they were so consistent with Johnny's storyline these last 5 episodes. And I don't know if you guys remember, but most of our complaints at the end of season 5 was Johnny's inconsistencies. So they nailed it for these last 5 episodes.
It's all about Johnny. It started with Johnny. It's got to end with Johnny.
Yeah. Did you like his, proposal, marriage, and from Bobby and all that?
Yeah, I thought that was really cool.
It was cute.
I also liked how they had Daniel and Bobby in the same scene.
Yeah.
I've said this many times before too, but I wish they had more of an interaction between Bobby and Daniel instead of just like a
very quick look. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure they did have that at one point in time.
I don't have enough time to dwell on that, you know.
But yeah, I think it was a happy moment for me anyway. I cheered. So good for Johnny. Where are we on? We're moving to 13 Skeletons. Moving right along. 60 episodes from Escolita. But what do we got about this one? What do we think? Opening montage, Kreese visits Tori.
Yeah, I thought that was really sweet, you know. I think that was the first time we've actually seen Kreese actually put Tori first for the first time.
Yeah. I guess did anyone have any inclination of what was going on when Kreese visits her?
I thought he was going to probably just try to persuade her to do more, like not be a good person again or something like that. But it turned out very differently.
It did.
Yeah.
Yeah, and his reason for why he wanted her to fight again was a great reason. So we didn't feel like Kreese was just some sappy guy. He just says, because I want you to fight. Like, he knew that that's what she needs. And ironically, that's what Johnny and Kreese recognize in Tori that Daniel never did. Daniel talks about the changes later, but when you see this episode, it just shows you Johnny and Kreese know Tori so well that she is a fighter. That is what she is. That's how she overcomes things. She's not Sam. She doesn't talk things out. She doesn't reason things out. She had the one episode with Sam of doing that, but that would have been totally inconsistent with the character. So it was great that they continued with that and we got to see Tori overcome.
I agree.
Yeah, I felt like, okay, I know that. I mean, it was great seeing her in Miyagi-Do, but let's face it, she's Cobra Kai. Like she strikes first. I mean, and Sam does it. Sam's more like the more reasonable of the two. She strikes, Tori, she strikes first, a lot of times without even thinking first. And it was just nice that, that we got to see that 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 fighter that she's always been come out in a positive light, in a more positive light. Like like you can really credit Kreese for being actually the first person to see that she is a true fighter. And and really, maybe he didn't encourage that to come out in the best way. Where I mean, Tori made a valid point. Tori really shows a lot of, like, even though she's Cobra Kai and she strikes first, she also showed a lot of growth where seasons 2 and 3, she would have blamed Sam for just about anything she could think of. And but in that scene in the dojo, like where she says, like, I was just thinking about all of the everything that's happened to me these past couple of years. When I first came into this dojo, I was sparring with Miguel, making friends with Aisha, meeting Sam at the beach club. And she finally, like, acknowledges that she was a bully to Sam, but she also, like, acknowledges that every good thing that's happened with her is because of the LaRussos. And she's, like, really grateful to them for that, despite her being a bully, despite her bullying Sam and not understanding, like, what she did to deserve it. And I felt like it was a nice moment where all three of them kind of like with Amanda saying, it's like life kept knocking you down and you kept getting back up.
Yeah.
You kept fighting. And Daniel saying that we've all made mistakes here, but you overcome them better than anybody than most. And Sam saying, like, and Daniel saying, you deserve some happiness in your life, and Sam saying, and just like you deserve to win.
Yeah.
So I felt like that was a really full circle moment for them. Like, where Tori just acknowledges that she was a bully, but that doesn't mean that she was a bad person. She just needed the right guidance. And just because she's in Cobra Kai, it doesn't mean that bad things are going to happen, just going to keep happening to her.
Yeah. So, Robert, Kreese on his mission to Tori, and and then from Tori he moves on to Johnny. So, I mean, what were you thinking about all these Kreese here?
I thought it fit, particularly with Tori, obviously, because that's his most recent student that he saw. I mean, he wanted Robbie, and then Robbie didn't work out because Robbie always knew where the lies were. So then he goes to Tori, and Tori is, you could tell she's like a daughter to him, or at least a granddaughter at the very least. Because when he says granddaughter, in what was that, season 4, right? Yeah.
No,
so
season
when he
5,
says,
but yeah.
Was it 5? Yeah. Okay. When he says it and you just hear it, and it's like, you could feel there was some level of tenderness in his voice. Like part of him actually feels like that's his granddaughter. And so talking with her and just encouraging her to keep going, and then going to Johnny and then saying, you know, I messed up, I did everything wrong. I mean, it was just, Johnny needed to hear that so that way he could finally move on. Because it's funny, when we first started this show, it was the kick was the problem. And they've led us down this great path where we find out it wasn't the kick, it was everything that happened after the kick.
Right.
That he would have been fine if it was just the kick, just the loss. But it was everyone telling him he was a loser that made him actually feel like a loser. So for Kreese to come back and tell him, you weren't a loser, you handled it the right way, I handled it the wrong way. Johnny really needed to hear that.
Right.
Yeah. And I feel that way too. I feel like that was a confrontation that needed to happen. Johnny needed to realize that it wasn't Daniel that ruined his life. It wasn't the crane kick that ruined his life. It was Kreese. Kreese calling Johnny a loser and just giving up on him, just tossing him aside in Johnny's words, like trash, and just not wanting anything to do with him in his life really is what really screwed Johnny up. He saw Kreese as a father, and for Kreese to call him a loser, that's what really hit him. That's what really hit him. Like, his father, in a sense, was calling him a loser, and that's what made him feel like that's what he was. And that's what started all of this. And it's like Kreese never got it. He never understood it. It was his lack of respect, his lack of belief in Johnny after that loss that sent Johnny into that downward spiral.
Right.
And it felt like it was such a full circle moment where Johnny finally confronts Kreese and tells him off and really gets emotional, and maybe not outright says that he forgives him, but once he gets all of that out of his system, he could say in his heart, or maybe not in his heart, but maybe in his mind, that he forgives him and just lets it go.
Yeah. So, Robin, what do you think about Kreese's, then visit after, Tori went over to Johnny, and then eventually at the end of the episode, Johnny comes back to him as
I thought it was heartwarming. I know that's very cliche to say, but I thought it was heartwarming, and it starts. I know it's sort of small, but they kind of are starting off to have his redemption arc. It's very subtle. It's subtle that they're starting that, and that's all I can think of right now to say.
Heartwarming. Okay, there you go.
Yeah,
what's your question, Melissa? What are you asking?
Yeah, Derek made a good point that Tori let Sam in into her apartment, but Kreese she made stand outside. So
yeah, I don't know nature of the visit or something, but still don't forgive the bastard amendment of the last 35 years. Yeah, there you go.
Even when she hated Sam,
I agree with you, Brianna.
Yeah. I think Brianna, and I said this in my video at least, the bigger issue isn't Kreese redemption or anything. It's Johnny coming to terms with it, so that's how I put it. Like, that's really what's important. It's more about Johnny coming over this. And we later learn in episode 5, or 15, I mean, just we could just talk about it in the graveyard scene, that the whole Applebee's incident, the whole thing triggered because the guy called him a loser, right? And that was like Johnny's trigger word after all these years. Like, you're a loser. So I think he was, keeping that inside all those years, but finally, after confronting Kreese here in episode 13, maybe he was able to kind of overcome it.
Yeah. And you know something else too, which is what I also want to point out, like with what Derek said, like she even let Sam into her apartment, even when she still hated Sam at in the end of season 5. Like
Mhm.
that was really something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So let's move on. Well, let's just do the Daniel skeleton fight here, since it's kind of a big moment with the Miyagi show up. Did you guys expect Miyagi to show up and see him fight side by side, Daniel?
Yeah, I did. I actually had suspected it.
Really?
Yeah, because like for one thing, it did seem like it was a dream sequence, and it was obviously like a vision or flashback that with the skeletons. It was obviously a callback to when Daniel was getting attacked and nearly beaten to death by Johnny and his gang, and they were dressed as skeletons, and all of the callbacks that he was getting, you know, like with Dutch and Johnny and all of those people who were calling him things, and it just made sense that it was Mr. Miyagi. I mean, at first I theorized that maybe this could actually be happening in real life. This was maybe Silver trying to persuade Daniel to enter to agree to the tournament, you know, in the way that we all love, and that maybe this might have been Julie helping Daniel, but it just, I was happy that it was Mr. Miyagi, because I was happy to see, like, and I felt like it's something that did need to happen. I know people aren't a fan of the AI, but I felt like Mr. Miyagi, like after that dream sequence that we had, that nightmare that we had of that Daniel had in part 2, I felt like he needed a moment with Mr. Miyagi in a dream, telling him that what he needed to hear.
Yeah, right.
I felt like that. I felt like that brought everything. I felt like that allowed Daniel to come to terms with Mr. Miyagi. Like he wasn't perfect, but he was still. But despite all the mistakes he made in the past, he was still a good mentor to him. He still made a difference in his life.
Robert, how did you like the Miyagi Daniel fight?
I loved it. I mean, it was just, it takes you back, right? Because a lot of the same moves Miyagi does, the one where he hits him in the abdomen area and then does the jump front to the two guys. Like, I didn't like the skeletons look. I mean, it's okay for a dream, but it looked like costumes rather than like the other ones look like they could be actual what would you call it, like you could actually see someone putting that on to torture someone. These look like little kids costumes, and even a couple of guys seem kind of short too, so I think some of them might have been kids, but it just, when you watch it, you're just sitting there thinking like, this is what we've needed Daniel to have, this moment with Mr. Miyagi where he can finally say, I don't know what to do. Like, I've tried everything. I've tried imparting your lessons. I've tried this. I've tried that. And for Miyagi just to tell him like, yeah, but the problem is, and I'm paraphrasing, of course, but the problem is, Daniel, you're still trying to fight. And I've never been about fighting. You keep telling everybody that. Mr. Miyagi was not a fight about fighting. And then you're out there trying to teach them how to fight. So for Mr. Miyagi to be able to show us a little bit about that, I do think they dropped the ball, though, in the scene where Daniel says, you know, you killed someone. And then Mr. Miyagi just puts his head down and that's it. We don't get any real acknowledgement why it happened or how it happened. I'm hoping maybe it's in a spinoff if they choose to do that. But that was one area where I could have even accepted, you know, we all have skeletons, you know, something that made us feel connected to it. The head down thing was just a little bit of shame. And I wanted a tiny bit more. I wanted to know why that happened. Was it an accident? Was it he was young and rebellious? What caused Mr. Miyagi to learn the lessons that he learned?
Exactly.
Very good. So you agree, Robin?
I agree.
Well said. Well said. Well said. We touched it very briefly, but obviously we got the Robbie Axel fight. Axel in the end goes a little dirty, even though they're up so much. He just takes Robbie out. I mean, any other thoughts? Unfair. Poor Vidal just didn't realize it was intentional. What do we think?
I think Vidal is kind of a moron.
Oh,
Ouch.
Because it was clearly like the way he just justified that, like that was ridiculous. Like because
I guess it looked like a legal move.
Clearly, yeah, that was a clearly illegal move, and you're just gonna let them, and you're just gonna give him a free pass for that. He clearly broke his knee. Like not even Bobby, like the ref, not even Bobby got a free pass for what he did to Daniel and the Karate Kid. Like he got disqualified.
Well, of course, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it was very obvious. I think the trick with Axel is he was trying to hide it,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but Vidal, like he's the ref. He should have known better. I mean, and to be honest, I know a lot of people. I get that a lot of people are hating on Axel because yes, he performed the move and he shouldn't have done it. But people need to remember that Wolf and Silver were the ones who gave the order, just like Priest did Bobby. Axel didn't want to do it. Axel did not want to hurt Robbie, but Wolf and Silver were the heavies in this. And so they were the ones that were pushing it. And I'm not saying that what Axel did was right. He shouldn't have followed through with the order. But it's like people need to remember that it's Wolf and Silver who were the ones that were pushing it. Not Axel. Axel didn't want to do it. And
you can see him kind of glimpsing over at Mary at Sam.
Yeah, Sam,
right.
And Sam's like giving him, and Sam's like got a death stare at him, and for what happened. And I honestly, I think that was like really something like Sam was still like, it showed that even though they didn't have an interaction, Sam was still having an influence on Axel and a positive influence on him. And I think that was really good. It really showed that that they did have a strong connection, or at least Axel had a strong connection with Sam. And but at the same time, like I said, I don't agree with what Axel did to Robbie. I hate it even because I felt like I mean, to break his knee like that was just such a low blow. And I kind of I see why it did need to happen, but I kind of wish it didn't happen. But it did ultimately lead us to the next scene between where with Daniel and Johnny and Corey, it did give us that scene.
Yeah.
Which it showed.
Although it would have been nice to have Robbie win one for once.
Yeah. It would have
been. The Robbie fans were really, really gunning for a Robbie win, obviously.
But the show is not called Miyagi, it's called
that's true. It's true. But then even when Robbie was in Cobra Kai, he didn't win. Geez, he can't catch a break.
And something too is that Chosen kind of revealed that the healing technique that Mr. Miyagi did wasn't really magic. It was more like a
it's actually a particular, medical move,
reducing. But here's the thing. It kind of also revealed, though, too, that Daniel's leg wasn't broken when Bobby did that, because otherwise Mr. Miyagi wouldn't have been able to do it.
Yeah.
That's the reason why Chosen couldn't do that on Robbie's knee, because Robbie's knee was literally broken.
So Robert, any other thoughts about that fight, or you're just like,
No, I'm with everybody else. Like it was tough for me because I also wanted Robbie to come out on top. Just like even if they could have wrote it a different way, looking back, I wish they could have kind of did it where the fight with Axel happens and then Robbie and Miguel fight at the end, Miyagi-Do versus Cobra Kai. And it's funny because I was one of the ones when we met earlier this year saying, what if a third party comes in and actually wins? And then by the time the season got here, all I wanted to see was Robbie and Miguel one more time at the end because I would like to know who's actually the better fighter. And I don't think we got that in 5 because Miguel's head wasn't in the right space. Robbie's was. So, I mean, at the very end. So I would have loved to have seen one more match between them where this time, it's for everything to find out who's actually the better fighter of the two. But I realize why that's almost impossible to do and the way that they started it. So if they wouldn't have done what they did in the second half, then in part 3, they could have had something like that. And they could have had Tori and Sam one last time, but it would need to be something like that where they said, let's find out who's truly the best, right? So, but I think that they also wanted to save You're the Best Around for Johnny because they couldn't write the other song for him. So that song needed to be played.
Right.
It was a great way to have Thunderstruck though playing and having Tori and Miguel come out. That song's been in my head ever since that day because of that reason. So that was just an amazing scene. And I could watch it over and over again. Even though, again, I wanted Robbie to win, they ended it in a way that I'm satisfied with. I still think we could have done something different with Robbie. That's all.
Yeah, everyone wanted something with Robbie. Or at least the big Robbie fans wanted something with
That's
Robbie.
how I feel too. Like I'm satisfied with this ending, but at the same time though, I wish that they could have done something different. Like maybe given him his win in season 4. Like if this was the route they were gonna go, they could have set it up like they could have given Sam and Robbie their wins in their tournament wins.
Well, they didn't know, they didn't know how season 6 was going to go in season 4. I mean, they had ideas, but
didn't they say that they already had an idea of how it was going to end?
Yeah, but they don't know specifics about like who's winning what or anything, Like they knew there was probably going to be a world tournament. Like that's what they had in mind and such, but they don't have the details down. Not like that.
One thing I will add though is I think Axel, the reason why he did it wasn't because he wanted to win. It was literally because he was afraid he was going to get hit again. I think that's the reason that he went through with it the first time. And then the second time that fear was gone. And so now he could actually.
That's what I'm saying. It's like people need to remember that Axel didn't want to do it, but Wolf and Silver were forcing him to do it. And Axel was more than likely afraid he was going to get beat if he didn't do it. Right. And I'm not saying that excuses Axel going through with it, but it just helps you a little bit understand a little bit. Like you got to remember, Axel's not the bad guy here. It's Wolf and Silver. And I think fans get that mixed up because they're so angry about what Axel did to Robbie, forgetting that Axel was under duress when he did it, just like Bobby was.
Right.
As the old saying goes, there's no such thing as a bad student, there's only bad teacher.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's an old saying. I've heard that. Yeah. All right. Let's move on to 14, Strike Last. Someone pointed out, and I think I realized it, but I didn't fully point it out or, make the full connection. The last 3 episodes are a mirror of the first 3, from Ace Degenerate to Strike First to Esquilito. Then we have Skeletons, Strike Last, and X Degenerate. But
yeah,
little Easter egg. Okay, so Strike Last.
Wait. Something else we forgot to talk about a scene in episode 13. That scene between Daniel and Sam. Where Sam tells Daniel she's not fighting.
What do you have about it? Go ahead.
I thought that was a really good scene because it showed that Sam came to that conclusion. Sam realized something that it took Daniel like 40 years to remember and realize that she didn't know what she didn't really have a reason to fight in this tournament. Like especially compared to Robbie and Tori and Miguel, who needed this. Like, and she realized, I get that Daniel came to this realization right as he woke up, but Sam was the one that actually came to the realization probably even before he did. And I felt like that was a really good moment for her. Like her saying to Daniel, like she's not fighting, like she doesn't want to fight Tori anymore.
Right.
I think like Tori and Sam are just past that point with each other. They don't want to fight each other anymore. And I think Sam refusing to fight was actually the biggest, the best, strongest, most mature decision that anyone could have ever made, because while the show does show that a lot of strength comes from fighting, it takes a lot of strength. It takes even more strength to refuse to fight in the first place, even though you could.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a bit of a journey from her, because she went from being excited to get back into the tournament to not even fighting. Right.
That's why I'm saying, like in episode 12, when she kept trying to convince Tori to get back into the tournament, I think in her heart she knew that she didn't want to compete in the tournament, even if it hadn't reached her mind yet.
Right. No, that makes sense. And actually people, that's often how we make decisions. Sometimes we've kind of made a decision before we've consciously made the decision. Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think this also set, from what I'm seeing, Sam wasn't set up to win a tournament in Cobra Kai, and we all hoped that Robbie would be, but I think that this sets Robbie and Sam up respectively to win their own tournaments in spinoffs.
Yeah. We'll see. Yeah, we'll get to spinoffs.
Yeah.
So let's just move on. Yeah, cruising down Ventura Boulevard. Daniel misses the turn to Miyagi-Do, and they're back at Cobra Kai. What do you guys think? Now we didn't know this was going to happen, because they released a little clip of them actually bowing in front of the dojo there. So that was like, God, that the day before it came out. So I saw that, and of course I wasn't sure, I thought maybe they'd end up back there, but like that and such, Daniel and Johnny, what did we all think of that?
Well, first of all, that was a very nice little callback to when he's driving Robbie to, it's like, didn't we just miss the turn? Oh, we're not going back home. It was a very nice little
that's very good. I didn't make that connection, but you're absolutely right. The end of season 1, when he makes the turn, he goes to Miyagi-Do. Yeah, very good.
Yeah, I love the scene with Johnny where he says, even though I don't believe in the style of karate that you do, I believe in you. And that shows just how much these two have grown over these 6 seasons, that Daniel can now actually fully separate Johnny from Cobra Kai. Because he said stuff like Eagle Fang, Cobra Kai, that's the same thing. Always the Cobra Kai. Like, he just kept saying it over and over. He's finally accepted now that, that's who Johnny is, but Johnny is Cobra Kai. Kreese was almost just like a transition guy, because Johnny is the one who really takes the lessons and makes them into something that is a balanced martial art.
Yeah, that's saying he's like, Daniel was having a hard time separating the fact that Johnny, that yes, Johnny is Cobra Kai, but that doesn't mean that he's Kreese. He's not Kreese. And I felt like that was a really good growing moment for Daniel. Like, I mean, Daniel of all people, like seeing the good and being in a Cobra Kai dojo, seeing and he's essentially Cobra Kai himself.
Yeah.
Daniel is essentially
he's encouraging Johnny, I think, is what's
right.
going on.
He's encouraging Johnny to embrace his Johnny's Cobra Kai. He's encouraging Johnny to embrace his own moment. And I also want to bring back that moment, like in episode 13, where he was talking with Johnny, and Johnny's upset that Sam and Daniel are dropping out, and Daniel says something to Johnny that I think really stuck with Johnny. Like, it really struck a chord with Johnny. He says that our mentors made mistakes. They're not perfect, but we don't have to carry we don't have to carry their mistakes into our own teachings. So it's like, despite all of the bad things that they did, there were still some good lessons that they taught us that we can, and as long as, and with Sam and Robbie being okay with not winning the tournament, it means that Miyagi's legacy will live on. Everything that he taught, all of the positive things that he taught will live on and be remembered. And I think that really struck a chord with Johnny, because, like, you notice how he looked at Kreese, where he said, yeah, Kreese where it's been all Johnny's been focus was all of Kreese's mistakes and how he screwed everything up, and he screwed him up, and he's not wrong, he's right, but he could take the lessons that Kreese taught him and still turn them into something good. And that's what I think made Johnny realize that it's okay to go back to Cobra Kai. It's okay to teach the lessons that he learned from Kreese, but make them good, not not bad. Make, teach them the way that they should have been taught in the first place. And
and that's where we are. We get a great training montage of Johnny, giving him his all. Everyone gets involved. Daniel shows up, the other fighters, Hawk's there, Kenny's there, so everyone's helping them train. And I don't know, what do we think? Like, good montage, or
I thought it was a great montage. I thought like with Sam and Tori training each other in the dojo, and Daniel and Johnny training each other, or Daniel training Johnny, like basically Johnny accepting Daniel as a sensei. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that comes in episode 15. In this one, he's training Tori and Miguel, but I'm happy once. Okay, let's just skip ahead to like Tori Zara's fight here. I mean, that's the.
I'm sorry, I was just really quick going to add one thing I did notice during that training montage is, at first Tori and Miguel are blocking like Miyagi-Do blocks, and then at the end Miguel does the punch, and so they were still kind of having a little bit of Miyagi-Do in their heads, and they had to kind of be brought out of it so they could show who they were, because those first couple of blocks, they're just kind of slapping it away, and that's Miyagi-Do.
Right.
So I think that helped them to get their heads back where they needed to be. That's all I wanted to add.
Go ahead.
I will say this though too. It's because of Miyagi. It's also because it's not just like Johnny. Like with what you said though, I think Johnny does incorporate Miyagi-Do into Cobra Kai. Like, I think both Daniel and Johnny do that now. So, I think he's made that a part of his dojo, even while he was training. I think that Miguel and Tori also did that. Like, they're still Cobra Kai, but they're also Miyagi-Do. too, and that's not a bad thing. So
right.
And I think that they needed, yes, they
All right.
needed.
Hey, hold on. Let's get ahead to just the fight now because we're gonna run out of time. Just Tori Zara's fight. What do you reaction? Was it fun? What do you guys think?
I thought it was fun.
What-
I thought you see her, you see Tori using a lot of Miyagi-Do in there as well. And that ending, Tooth Fairy, yeah, that was just the cherry on top.
Cherry.
Yeah, I knew it was only going to go 2 rounds with Tori. It would not have made sense to go 3 because once she got that I love you from Robbie, it was over. Like there was no chance at that point that we were going to get a 3rd round. So to see Tori absolutely dominate her after that was just perfect.
Yeah. And I also love that Tori used Sam's stance in season 4. Like that was really that showed just how much she took Sam's training really to heart. And I also loved that you're right, when she knocked Zara's tooth out, that was that was a full circle moment.
And the welcome to the valley, bitch.
Welcome to the valley. Yeah.
Loved it.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, it was probably maybe the more emotionally satisfying because, I mean, as I said, Zara is the one character. She had nothing redeeming about her or sympathy or anything. Where Axel, we see a little bit more, but I think Zara's straight up unlikable.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go, people. She's right from Lovin.
She's basically everything that Tori believed Sam was. That's Zara. Everything that Tori believed Sam was, that is Zara.
Yeah. Plus social media, streaming influence. Yeah. Just so much. And I say that as we're currently streaming right now.
Yep.
So that was a fun one. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, really quick. How about the Johnny and Miguel talk? That was just kind of good to hear because Miguel's saying, he just can't wait to pay Axel back for what he did to Robbie. And Johnny says, I get it. That's pretty much how I've been doing things. And then I love how he describes Daniel as 6 weeks of training, something we've all laughed about. The whole reason this show was even created was because of that. And then he says, but he's gotten better since then, I guess. And so that was just kind of great that Johnny is now realizing hey, I should have been able to win this fight hands down. And the reason I didn't win the fight was because I took the teachings too much to heart and focused on revenge rather than focusing on honoring my sensei.
Yeah, that was a nice part there. The 6 weeks of training. It's kind of like the show trying to acknowledge it in universe a little bit because people was it doesn't make any sense. He just learned a few blocks in 6 weeks, and but so that's the show. But all right, so quickly, well now let's just do Miguel's fight against Axel. He's only down by 10. What do you think?
I thought it was really great. I thought it was really. It showed Miguel full. It showed prime Miguel. It definitely showed. It definitely showed season 1 Miguel vibes back, season 2, and it's just
showed everything that he did in the little montage thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. And it just he was ready to dominate Axel. He was. It was really great seeing. It was really great seeing that side of him back, and it was a good thing too.
Prime Miguel.
Yep, prime Miguel.
Right. For sure, prime Miguel. Yeah.
And then, of course, Axel does the opposite this time, doesn't go for the crippling blow. And you sit there and you're just like, anybody that thought Axel was going to do it, I mean, they don't realize this show, what it's about, literally about second chances. So Axel got it the second time. He was like, I'm not doing this again. I'm doing things my way, which is very much the way that, someone said it, I think in a comment, that Axel could train with Johnny and he would learn a lot more. Yeah. And I truly believe that's the case. Axel would literally be unstoppable if he trained under Johnny. It wouldn't even be close.
Or Daniel too. Or Daniel too.
Daniel, yeah. But that ending with him just blowing off Wolf was just very satisfying to see that. Him standing up to Wolf like that and just leaving.
Yeah, it was like he's like, what does Wolf say? I can't believe you're my student. Like, I won't be your student anymore.
Or he's like, I'm ashamed to have you as my student. And Axel's like, likewise. Well, I'm ashamed to have you as my sensei. And he walks off.
Which I wish they'd just like said something, or whatever happened to Axel in the end, if he went back somewhere or if he was stuck in the US or something. It would have been nice to see that, but
no, he faded off into the sunset, or back to Russia, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe
he wasn't there to support Wolf, so that's the big thing.
That's true.
That just showed he was done with Wolf.
Yeah, he was big fight, but epic in nature. Johnny gives Miguel the headband. That's touching moment, I guess. Because I don't think like as much emphasis was placed on Johnny's headband as Daniel's. I guess because Daniel's is more iconic and Johnny's was just black, but it's always been there. It's always been a thing, But Miguel has not gotten a headband from both Daniel and Johnny now, because Daniel, so Miguel apparently wins the headband race. Yep. And he had the captain's headband. So he actually ended the series with 3 headbands. Or having worn. I guess he does give the headband back to Johnny, but so Miguel is the big headband winner.
He's the Karate Kid, so
yeah, he's the Karate. He is the new Karate Kid, not anything in any movie coming up.
Right.
All right, so let's go to the end, because after Miguel then wins, we get the tiebreaker, okay, and we're at the end. Silver is sending Dennis to go after Johnny's family, but enter John Kreese. So, the whole boat scene. Just your reactions and everything.
Well, obviously,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, 80s villain right there. I mean.
Yeah.
Go capture the family. Reminds you of oh gosh, now I'm gonna forget which one. Was it Kickboxer or Bloodsport? I can't remember which one, but Tong Po, right? I think that's Kickboxer.
Oh, I think that's Kickboxer. Yeah, Kickboxer.
Yeah. So same idea, right? Like capture someone that matters to you. Like that is such a Silver thing to do. He truly is an 80s villain.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, and I said this in one of your streams too. It's the perfect James Bond ending for the perfect James Bond villain.
Yeah. That's what I was just thinking. Very well said, Robin.
I will say this: I'm not a huge fan of the final fight on the boat. I'm not a huge fan of it. I feel like, I'm 50-50 on it. I'm okay with it, but I feel like if they were going to do a final fight with John Kreese and Silver, and it was the real final fight between them, I feel like it should have been at the old Cobra Kai dojo, where it all began, their roots. And
their roots were in Vietnam, really.
Well, I know, but it started with the whole show started with franchise started with in the Karate Kid with Cobra Kai. So I feel like that was their that was their legacy. So I feel like it should have ended there. If they were gonna have a fight to the death, it should have been at the OG Cobra Kai. But I do I do see I'm so 50-50 on it. Like, I mean, I did like how like Kreese like redeemed himself by saving Johnny's family, because that was a low blow. Threatening to go after Silver going after Carmen and an innocent baby. Like, I get he's got nothing left to lose because he's dying, but that was such a low freaking blow. He should like you can't like there's no redemption for him at that point, because him going after an innocent baby, that there's no redeeming that. And I mean, I felt like it was good that Kreese got his redemption, but at the same time though, to just kill them off the way that they did, I'm not necessarily a huge fan of it. I felt like there could have been more. I felt like it could have been more epic. And with their last words being "no mercy."
That was kind of cheesy.
Yeah, that was kind of cheesy. It's just, yeah, I felt like it could have been better, but at the same time, though, it was still good because John Kreese did get his redemption.
Yeah, at least in the eyes of some, by stepping in to defend Johnny's family.
Yep.
Yeah, it was it was an explosive moment, but now they're sleeping. Now they're sleeping with the fishes. You know.
Well, and as the creator said, another 40 people too for a yacht that size. So not only did he kill two, actually killed 41 because there would also be what's his name on there too. So didn't just kill Kreese and Silver. It was a whole wipeout.
Do you think Terry Silver takes a full crew of 40 people every time he takes a boat?
No, we know they're joking about that. It's literally just those three.
Yeah. There's got to be a captain at least, hasn't there? Oh, well.
Maybe Silver pilots it, or maybe Dennis. I don't know.
Maybe Dennis does, or he has some lackeys or something.
Yeah, he's a boat captain guy on the side.
So speaking of Silver, going back into him and Daniel's conversation, that was I thought that was great. Seeing with those two, I was hoping for a little bit more closure with those two, and you could see Daniel was he looks like he was trying to make peace with that Silver, but Silver backed up and went back to him and thought he still had him. And surprisingly, Daniel went, "Didn't you hear? Cobra Kai never dies."
Mm-hmm.
Really? Yeah, I did not get that.
Oh, yeah. Was I talking too fast?
No. What I mean is literally I didn't see it the same way. So when you said that right now, I was like, interesting take that Daniel was actually trying to reach out to Silver, because I still took it as Daniel's struggle is still as that what did Silver call him in season 4, that arrogant prick. Like, I still kind of felt like he was rubbing it in, and so you could understand why Silver would be like, he is an arrogant prick, because he just comes and he rubs in his victories, and it's like, if you're being honest, Daniel, all your victories come from Miyagi. They don't come from you. So it just, that was such an interesting thing that you said there.
Well, as I said, I've always been like, since I was watched First Silver ever, always wanted those two to at least become friends, but it doesn't look like that would ever happen.
Yeah.
Or reconcile, or whatever they call it.
Yeah, definitely not.
That was never going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not such a huge fan of Daniel saying to Silver, Cobra Kai never dies. It just kind of felt like too out of character. But at the same time, though, I did like Daniel verbally standing up to Silver, saying like, this isn't over, because Cobra Kai never dies. And it's like Daniel's finally embracing what Silver has been what Silver said to him in season 4, saying that there was always a little bit of Cobra Kai in you, and Daniel is now embracing that. Where I was like, okay, you're the one that's always been saying that that there's, and with what Silver said about him and Miyagi sharing a student, like like for Daniel to throw that back in his face, like the way that he did, that was truly incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel is Cobra Kai
Daniel
too.
is
Don't
Cobra
forget.
Kai.
Yep.
Yeah.
Silver never
and I
lets
think
him
he's very
forget it.
secure in himself.
Silver
now,
never
so-
lets him forget it. And Daniel got to throw it back in his face when he showed up in that Cobra Kai gi and said to him, Cobra Kai never dies.
Did they even see him in the Cobra Kai gi? Or no, the explosion happened after, didn't it?
It happens in
he
episode
didn't
15.
Well,
yeah.
But
Siri Silver never saw him in the game.
Yeah, he never saw, but it would have been a really good throw in your face moment.
Yeah, it was definitely a fun moment. So let's move to 15. Ex Degenerate. So it is okay. Yeah, we talked about it a little bit already. Opens Johnny at the grave of his mom. We do know from Billy that this was actually originally going to be Dutch. This was going to be the scene with Dutch, but Chad McQueen couldn't do it, so they rewrote it. Maybe even better. What do we think of Johnny and his mom, despite putting aside maybe the wrong date on the tombstone?
Yeah, that really kind of threw things off, was the wrong date.
Yeah.
But I thought it was good. At least we got an explanation as to what happened at Applebee's, because I'm sure everybody is always wondering what happened at Applebee's. So it was good that they had that explanation there.
Yeah, but it was still only a snippet. I would have liked a little more detail on what actually happened at Applebee's, because we got enough to kind of mentally picture it, but I wanted to get a few more details.
It would have been nice. They probably didn't have time,
I never thought they were going to really explain the whole thing. It's one of those jokes that's funnier the less you know, or only know a snippet, because then you can just imagine it. But we actually got a little bit more, it started because the guy called him a loser. So, we're seeing Johnny's story and where he was then.
Yeah.
Just want to acknowledge Max. Max is wondering if we can hear him. Yeah, Max, we all hear you. We know that you feel that Kreese didn't redeem himself. I personally, I don't think he had to redeem himself with Daniel and Miyagi. Because Daniel already had his mind set on who Kreese was. I don't think it was going to change totally. He just accepted that Kreese is this kind of a teacher.
Yeah. And something else too. Something else I want to point out, that moment where Johnny visits his mom's grave, that was a few weeks before Miguel and his family moved to the valley. That was a few weeks before that. So it kind of felt like in a sense, like now, like watching that scene, that maybe like Laura was essentially like spiritually guiding Johnny and Miguel together, watching over her son, like showing him he's not a loser. And I felt like that was a really, like, to see it that way. I feel like that makes that scene even more touching, like it shows just how much of an impact that Johnny's mom had in Johnny's life.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, she did have an impact in Johnny's life. All right, let's move on, to kind of our first big kind of moment, the training sequence, beginning Johnny struggling, and Daniel gives him a little pep talk, which of course leads into
the best montage of the series.
There you go. So you like it, Robin?
Oh, I love it.
Oh. Is this
Yeah,
how
I
you thought
like.
it would come, or like is it how you thought it would come, or what did you have in mind?
I was thinking it was going to be more, less, more of an homage to the original show or movie,
Mm-hmm.
and less to the Rocky. But then I realized there's a lot of Rocky inside of that, and they're the same. Is it the same writers as
Of
the
Rocky?
original Robert Mark Kamen? Did he write
No,
Rocky
no,
too?
no. John Avildsen. It was the
Oh, John
director.
Avildsen. Never mind.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, yeah. So I was thinking that, and yeah, it was it was just a fun little montage. Yeah.
Definitely. Fun little montage. There you go. Melissa, what do you think?
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. I thought like Johnny
Mhm,
kind of like getting that whole you're the best around. Nothing's
mhm.
ever gonna bring you down like moment, and like him like accepting Daniel as his sensei. Like that was really cool.
Mhm. Definitely. Robert, do you have anything else? The best around, just like meh, whatever.
No, actually, I was happy with the best around. The part I liked, of course, was Johnny. Us finding out that the source of Johnny's ability to actually win fights is in his confidence. I like how Daniel said to Amanda that Wolf will always have the physical skill, but it's Johnny's confidence that puts him ahead of everyone he's ever gone against because he believes he can win, which is
Mhm.
ironically the same thing 2 episodes earlier that Robbie said. And we get to understand that father and son think exactly alike. Like, I can win this, I just haven't been winning. So for Johnny to get to do it makes Robbie's fall that he had to take more acceptable for me.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was definitely for me, fun montage. I didn't know it's actually relatively early in the episode. Like that's the only sort of thing. Like I did think like maybe it'd be later. But it hits kind of early in the episode, but I guess that's just the way the structure is. Okay, one last little before to the tournament, we get the resolution essentially of the Miyagi box. Lucille tells the little story. Is that how you guys thought all this was going to resolve, or what did you think? Just the pearl necklace and
this gets more
Yeah.
into the I wanted Julie Pierce in there to describe everything.
Yeah.
So I think it was just kind of this was a last minute thing. They're like, oh, we need something to wrap this up because we were planning on having Hillary Swank or something like that, and then it didn't happen, so they needed something to wrap it up. So they said, okay, let's have Lucille do it instead.
Lucille, yeah. Mhm.
It was kind of a sweet one, but I was kind of hoping that they would end it. It ended too fast, in my opinion.
Yeah. I also thought it was kind of sweet that Mr. Miyagi essentially gave that necklace to Sam. That I thought that was really good moment. It really cements the fact that he really did see Sam as his granddaughter. So it was like he was keeping in the
For sure.
family.
Yeah.
And that's good.
Yeah, really good. Robert, do you have any views on the necklace and story and all of that?
Yeah. When I saw that, I think I was one of the people on here that was saying that I just can't see Mr. Miyagi ever doing that. And I can't see the writers doing that because there are a lot of people out there that literally love Mr. Miyagi. There's even a reactor that cries every time his name is mentioned. So I just couldn't see them having Mr. Miyagi be a thief and a criminal and then get redeemed. I knew there had to be a story within the story, which is why I'm still not 100% convinced Mr. Miyagi actually killed someone at the Sakai Tekai. There's still the opening that it might have been him who was supposed to have been dead, and that's why the name change happened. I mean, I know it's a long shot, but that still leaves a little room open for that. So I like the fact that they didn't that they didn't take him that direction, because there are so many people that literally from the time they watched Mr. Miyagi, that was their hero.
Mhm.
And you can't take that big of a hero. He's the one person on the show that doesn't need redeeming.
Mm-hmm.
And if you would have made a story where he needs redeemed, then you kind of take away from the entire aura that is Miyagi.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, ultimately, in Hayden had said this, in one of my streams long ago now, they were definitely intending most of the box wasn't going to get resolved. It was deliberately being left open for the spinoff, which of course, and we'll talk very briefly, but I've been saying, for a long time, I thought the first spinoff, if any, was going to be Miyagi. And I think Hayden still semi-confirmed it in that. And I think that's how the show ended. So, we'll see when and how that comes, for all we know, it may have already been greenlit. They just haven't announced it, or maybe they're just waiting and seeing. I don't know.
I personally think that it's pretty much greenlit at this point. They're just waiting for the right time they're just waiting. I think we'll probably get like maybe confirmation after the Karate Kid Legends film.
Maybe it'll probably be on Netflix. So it's always remember that the movie coming has nothing to do with Netflix, and these series are on Netflix. So it's like two different actual worlds.
Ralph is in this movie, so it's like
it's just gonna be if this happens, Netflix.
They're probably waiting to find out how good this movie does, and then they'll
I think it'll be more how it does on Netflix. I mean, because they're the ones paying out the money for it.
I was going to say, Jonathan has a good point. The boxing scenes seem very pointless.
Yeah, we didn't come back to the boxing. But like I had asked Hayden, I checked the date because I think it was established in 40 or 51, or now I forget the date off the hand, but he said there's no continuity errors. Everything on that is right.
Yeah.
So like the boxing gym opened presumably after the Sakai Kai fight and after the robbery of the necklace and stuff. So that's what he did when he came back. So yeah, it's very unresolved, as they say.
Do you want to talk about Johnny and Wolf? Do you want to get to Johnny and Wolf's fight?
Yeah.
Just really quick. It is only pointless if we don't get the Miyagi spinoff.
Right.
It's true. We might get the
and I think that'll come.
Yeah.
So, obviously the big fight of the episode, Sensei Johnny Lawrence against Sensei Wolf, fought old school style, 3 points wins, because why not? What do we think? Reactions? I mean,
honestly,
from start to finish.
I thought it was a really good one, and I thought I really appreciated that Johnny really had learned a lot from Daniel, because he remembered he didn't fall into that trap. Like, remember when Daniel said sometimes you have to take a step back and just regain your focus. That's essentially what Johnny did with his fight with Wolf. He took a step back, and it's what allowed him to get the win that he's always wanted. And he shared that win with Daniel. And I think Wolf preparing to do the Shaolin Sunset on Johnny was really extreme, but at the same time, though, it shows that he's he did it to himself. He has no one to blame but himself, because he essentially tried to murder Johnny in that moment.
Yeah.
And like, Johnny wound up being the stronger and smarter fighter of the two. So
he didn't charge into it.
Yeah.
He learned from his mistakes from there.
I mean, and I will say this, Wolf did bow to Johnny. Now,
Mhm.
I think it's more like he accepted. It was more of I accept you as my enemy kind of bow, not that he really respects Johnny kind of bow, but like
Mhm.
he did bow to Johnny. So
Mhm. There
Johnny
you
never
go.
bowed once to him. So
That's an interesting point.
Well,
yeah.
they bowed and everybody, he's like, face me, bow. I mean, I think they did do that.
Well, here's the thing. He did the face me bow to he nodded. He nodded at Wolf. Like
Mhm.
he gives Daniel the same nod. He gave the same nod that he gave to Daniel in the Karate Kid. It wasn't a bow, it was a nod.
Hmm.
I just
Well,
like the fact that we got to see the sixth member, because when you saw them when they did the kneel, there was 4 guys and then the 2 captains in the back, and yet when Sensei Wolf comes out, there's a female there. So we do get confirmation that he did have another female on his team. So I guess they're just transgender or something. I don't know.
no,
Didn't make a lot of sense.
she was actually always there. It was in the background just because obviously she wasn't important, but even from episode 6 when they fight Cobra Kai, she was always there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, I love his
Just-
confirmation.
just
Where's
different.
Silver? It's like, well, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a lot of people like. I mean, I think like
Nobody cares.
the way Hayden said. Well, the way Hayden said is like Kreese. They're used to sort of slithering away and not showing up or disappearing. And Silver. I mean, I thought of it as if they knew or suspected he was sick. Like if he's not there, like they're not like freaking out or something. Because they operated on them by themselves for a while, so it's not like they needed him or something. So it wasn't.
Or
that they
maybe they
just-
thought he gave up on them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Maybe, but it wouldn't make it pointless because he owned the Iron Dragons, and the reason why Wolf was fighting was because he wanted the dojo back. So wouldn't that
Right.
just void that out? I wonder.
Yeah, I mean, my suspicion is he'll just end up with the dojo back anyway. So in a way, I think Wolf will actually get what he wants because Silver's dead, and like who's gonna take the dojo from him? Like so, but
Yeah, but he doesn't have his top fighter anymore.
Nope.
he'll get a new top fighter. But
If they ever have a spin-off of that.
Yeah.
yeah. So let's see. Yeah, anything else about like just sort of Johnny's wind, Daniel's moment? I thought it was really good. It's as close to like a full circle as I think you could get, where or it completes the loop where Daniel says you're all right, Lawrence.
Well, that was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Just comes all full circles, and he gets his second chance.
And they share the trophy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's kind of like it's the reverse of the moment from the movie, and
I mean, everything was brought to full circle. Sam
Mhm.
going to Okinawa, Miguel joining her, Robbie and Tori getting sponsorships,
Mhm.
Daniel and Johnny operating as 2 dojos, but as one as well, like connected.
Yeah.
So Miyagi-Do expands too.
Yeah, there's one
Just like-
lesson plan. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think what's interesting is obviously for years I get asked, how do you think like the show will end? But like for some reason I don't think I ever imagined Daniel saying you're all right, Lawrence. Which struck me as weird because I was like, why'd I never think of that? But I don't. Does anyone else even ever consider something like that?
No,
I mean,
Nah.
I did think it was a possibility that he could say something like that, but at the same time, it felt like kind of like what you said. It felt kind of weird
Mhm.
too.
yeah, to me, it was kind of unnecessary. We got everything else we needed. It was more just something added in for nostalgia's sake. So, I mean, I accept it, but it
the
didn't. It
fans.
wasn't something I needed.
It's for the fans.
Yep.
Yeah, but I thought it was. Yeah, I thought it was a good moment.
Yeah. All right. So you wanna talk before we start heading out? Do you want to start talking like
well,
after?
Yeah, okay. I'm just looking through. We mostly talked about the resolutions of all the characters, you know.
Yeah.
Sam and Miguel off to Okinawa without any adult supervision. Tisk tisk. Johnny and Daniel now basically teaching together. They're side by side.
Without any adult supervision of their own. Tisk tisk.
Yeah. You know, they found their balance. I think they found their balance and their respect. You know, even to the end, Daniel's like, Daniel even suggested Anthony fight for Cobra Kai at the All Valley. So
yeah,
you know, Daniel, they're confident and
together.
comfortable with each
yeah,
other.
and
Yes.
Johnny even suggested that Devin fight under Miyagi-Do.
Right. She needed it. She was a bit of a
Yeah.
So all good, you know. Final thoughts that with the fly or anything, just on how it very ended.
It just showed that to me, it's like, yes, this is Daniel's universe, it's the Miyagi verse, but it's Johnny's show. So he's got to be the one to squash the fly. He's got to be the one to catch the fly.
Oh, that scene was so cute. I was not expecting that.
Cute.
I don't know if anybody was, but
whoever thought catching a fly with your hands would be cute, but there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I think basically every character or character pairing is like the show ends with a potential for like 8 spinoffs, right?
Yeah.
We've talked the Miyagi looking into the future. I mean, really think like which one would you want other than the Miyagi? Like which one would you want that could go, let's say 3 seasons. Let's just say 3 seasons. Like imagine, like what would 3 seasons be?
All right. So for me, the spinoffs that I do want, like that are at the top are Tori and Robbie, Sam and Sam, either Sam or Sam and Miguel, but I do think that if it's in Okinawa, it should more likely be like Sam as the main character, or like as the main focal point, considering that she's the one that's going to Okinawa. And Chosen and Kim in South Korea training their students, and if we're lucky, if fortunate enough, a Miguel spinoff. Those are my tops, and I have read some sources that they are maybe planning a Binary Bros spinoff. I mean, we could get that first. I don't know, but those are my tops. Those are the spinoffs that I want to see.
Yeah. Okay. Robin, what do you want? Anything? What do you want?
For me, I'll go with Melissa on this one and just have a spinoff of Sam in Okinawa and Miguel.
Ooh.
But just for flavor, just added love triangle in there with Axel.
There you go. It's always going to be a love triangle with Sam. Let's just talk the truth, people.
I mean, let's face it. I mean, let's be real here. Like a Sam and Okinawa spinoff, like it could work. Yeah, she didn't win any tournaments, but like let's face it. Like she's a LaRusso, she's Daniel's daughter, she's Miyagi's last student, and she's in Okinawa. So we all know, with that being said, we all know that there are plenty, and Hayden even confirmed that Sam's not done with karate. So, so her karate journey is not over. So I think with that being said, she's going to show she's her father's daughter by having like her own adventures in Okinawa and her own rivals.
Exactly.
She seems to have a knack. She seems to have a knack for creating. Her father. She seems to have her father's gained her father's ability to make rivals everywhere she goes.
Right. So, Robert, what spinoffs, if any, other than Miyagi, would you want?
Homeless Lynn, dazed and confused. No, I'm
There
just
you
kidding.
go. There you go.
Yeah.
Homeless Lynn. Yeah, she was in episode 14, but got cut, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay consistent and say none. I just
None.
I really only want the Miyagi spinoff just because I feel like that's the best place to go. If we get Binary Brothers, I'd watch it, but I don't know if I'd find the same enjoyment as I get from Cobra Kai. Sam, I'd watch again, but still not the same amount of joy. Like this show, the only thing that I'm still missing that I need from the 80s is to know Mr. Miyagi's full backstory. You know, when he and Sato found the wood that Sato was hitting on the beach, right? He says it's on the beach. I'd like to see that scene where they found that. I'd like to see Sato and Miyagi go from, you know, best of friends to mortal enemies, and then Miyagi come to America. Like that's it. That's all I really need left. So yeah, I'm just gonna stay consistent and say that's my choice.
Nothing wrong with that. I kind of agree. Like I mostly want the Miyagi. Most of the teen character, like I'm not sitting here. I don't really like need Sam and Okinawa or Binary Brothers. Peter, obviously from Cobra Kai Command, he's floated the idea, which is I think somewhat decent. Like instead of like spin-offs, but like almost miniseries, like 3 episodes, like miniseries, or 3 or 5 episode. You could do like 3 episode or 5 episodes on Binary Brothers, and then like have a little like one shot 5 episodes on Sam and Okinawa. That's like another way to do it.
I feel like though they've teased it teased it too heavily that we're getting.
No, I don't think like they teased it at all. I really think the only thing teased is,
I think they have
because
John has said that this is not the last time that Zara and Tori will meet, and Hayden's done Q&As. Like they've said over and over again that spinoffs are on the table. We have so many ideas.
Well, let me tell you, if the first one is very successful, there will be more. That's in, and I've been saying this for a couple of weeks now.
If it's in the big three's hands, it's probably going to be successful.
Well, we'll see. Hopefully. I think we'll wrap it up here. You know, guys, this was a great discussion. You know, we're at the end here and looking back and kind of got to go through it all, and it's just so much to unpack. Obviously we didn't get to everything. You just can't. You know, we could be talking about this for another 2 years, and maybe we'll be here. I'll be here talking about it.
Do like Watch Party still discussing Cobra Kai and
I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. And obviously channel memberships will continue, at least for the immediate future. You know, but so thank you there. Thank you to the chat. It was very lively, sometimes going off in weird back and forths or something. I don't know what was going on. Brianna's in the chat. Thank you, Brianna. For those who didn't see, Brianna 25 finally watched part 3 this morning. Her stream is up there. Go check it out. Watch along. A lot of fun. I said I didn't see all of it. Maybe I'll get back when I can. But thank you, Robin, Robert, and Melissa. Thank you, Elizabeth, who, if you're still listening, with Robert. And thank you, chat. Yeah, WStream live stream. Thank you, guys. Thank you. More videos will continue to come. I'm gonna keep them coming. There's just a lot to talk about, and you know, we'll go from there. Like I say, Cobra Kai never dies, and the watch party carries on. So thank you all very much. I'll see you at the next watch party. Bye bye.
Yep. Have a great night. All right. Bye.
See you later, everyone.